He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Because He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the author and perfecter of our faith. I love that section in the letter to the Romans, where St. Paul, I think, begins in chapter 8 and concludes in chapter 11, where he discusses our weaknesses, our tendencies, because of our sinful nature, because we were fallen, and yet, because of our free will, and yet, God is sovereign, that even if He knows our free will can go haywire, His power and His love encompasses even our gravest mistakes. C.S. Lewis said, the greatest display of sovereignty is making creatures who could say no to you. Let me repeat that. The greatest display of God's omnipotence is making creatures who could say no to Him, to God. Hindi sa insecure, alam niya, okay, sige. He knows the risks of giving free will to man. He knows that only with free will can man really be like God, choosing to love like God does. But there is also that tendency for man to sin, and he did. But even that is encompassed in the power and the love of God. Sabi nga ni St. Paul, no, dun sa binanggit ko na letter to the Romans, sabi niya, we all have sinned. We like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has gone into his own way, and yet, even if all of us are consigned to the prison of our own disobedience, as one translation puts it, we are imprisoned by our own disobedience. God doesn't imprison us. We are imprisoned by our own disobedience. Even if that happens, God's mercy is shown to all and is greater than our sin. You know, parents cannot watch their children 24/7, right? Hindi nila mababantayan ng mga anak nila, lalo yung mga bata pa, ng 24 oras. Minsan, talagang madadapa ang bata, masasaktan, may gagawing hindi wais, di ba? Foolish things. Put things in their mouth and whatever, that will hurt them because they're free agents. They're free to play around, right? Hindi mo naman pwedeng bantayan yung anak mo ng at gawing parang robot, wala na siyang magawa ng sa sarili lang niya. Hindi matututo yun, no? Hindi lalaki, hindi mag-grow. But even the mistakes, or most mistakes of children, the parents' love is greater than those things. And we're talking about human parents. What about God? God is perfect. God is all-powerful. And without interfering with our free will, our free choice, God's love and omnipotence are still greater than our foolishness and our sin. Kaya nga, yung conclusion ni St. Paul, he concluded that section with a doxology, and sinabi niya, from Him, through Him, and to Him are all things. To Him be the glory forever and ever. Ano ibig sabihin? Everything comes from God. Everything exists through Him and is sustained by Him. And everything will be consummated, will return to Him. Because, as St. Paul said in his letter to the Philippians that we read today, He who began a good work in us will complete it. You know, in the beginning, when God created all things, He created everything good, including us. See, we're part of creation, including us human beings. Everything He created good. And the totality of it, the whole ensemble, is very good. And that's His will. And He is not just willing to do that, He's able to do that. He's able to sustain that. He's able to restore that. Even if there's a leeway for error. You know, tawagin na nating margin of error. But God's love is greater than our weakness. And it encompasses our sin and everything else. His mercy is greater than our flaws. So don't get me wrong, though. This is not a license for us to sin, because while we have free will and the capacity to choose the wrong, it will hurt us. Parang yung prodigal son, we keep going back to the prodigal son. You know, we may misunderstand the story of the prodigal son, and we may say, yun naman pala pwede naman palang magrebelde sa ama, pwede naman palang bastusin yung ama, at kunin natin yung mana natin. Pero hindi nagtatapos dun yung istorya, hindi ba? Nung kinuha yung mana at umalis sa presensya ng ama, sa piling ng ama, anong nangyari? Siguro nag-enjoy ng panandalian. Pero ang nangyari, naubos ang kanyang mana at he ended up eating pig food. Sa Tagalog, mas malutong yung pig food kaning baboy. See, we must understand that even if we have free choice, if we choose the wrong things, it will hurt us, it will be disgusting. Who wants to eat kaning baboy? Nobody. So why hurt yourself? Why subject yourself to the consequences of sin, which are not pleasant, which are harmful, when the Father's love is always available to us? Always available to us. So, tandaan natin yun, no? Relax lang tayo. We're always encompassed in the love of God. Even if we fail. Even if others fail. Kaya nga sabi rin ni San Pablo, no? Who are you to judge the servant of another? To his own master, God, he stands or falls. And he will stand because God is able to make him stand. Tulad ng sinabi ko po kahapon, so sa Sunday Mass, hindi pa tapos ang boxing. Hindi pa tapos si Lord. Right now, He is in the process of restoring all things. The restoration of all things. He's making all things new, brand new. Just like He intended. And He's willing and He's able to do that. Let us find our rest in the God who is our Father, who is for us, and who loves us. He wants us to understand that and walk according to that, because that's the way it is in the kingdom of our God.